You got 2 hours to pack, Mama. The nursing home van is coming at noon. The words hit Essie Johnson like a slap across her 73-year-old face. She gripped the edge of her kitchen counter, the same counter where she'd taught her only son, Marcus, how to make cornbread when he was just tall enough to reach it. What do you mean, nursing home? Her voice trembled. This is my house, paid for with my sweat. Marcus couldn't meet her eyes. He stared at the floor, at his expensive shoes that Mama had bragged about to her church friends. Kendra's mama needs somewhere to recover after her surgery. The doctor says she needs a proper bedroom. And what about my bedroom? The one I slept in for 40 years? Mama Essie's voice grew stronger with each word. The one where I nursed you through chicken pox and heartbreaks? The kitchen clock ticked loud between them. Outside, a shiny black SUV pulled into the driveway. Kendra stepped out, checking her watch impatiently. We found you a really nice place, Mama. Sunshine Gardens, got activities and… Activities! Mama Essie laughed, but no joy reached her eyes. You mean bingo while waiting to die? Marcus finally looked up, his face a mask of shame and determination. It's just temporary. What am I now? Temporary? Mama Essie pointed toward the window. That woman out there never liked me. Now she is taking me home while I'm still breathing. She reached for the family Bible on the counter, clutching it to her chest like armor. Your father walked out that door when you were 5. I stayed. I worked 3 jobs to keep this roof over our heads. And now, you are showing me the same door he took. 2 hours later, Mama Essie sat rigid in the passenger seat of Marcus's Mercedes, her small suitcase and the family Bible on her lap. The rest of her life was being packed into boxes by movers Marcus had hired. You remember when we first moved to Rosewood Street? Mama Essie said, staring out the window as they passed the old neighborhood barber shop. You were just 7. That apartment had roaches, but it was all I could afford after your daddy left. Marcus gripped the steering wheel tighter. Mama, please! No, you're gonna listen. Her voice was steel. I cleaned houses all day, stocked shelves at Piggly Wiggly evenings, and still found time to help you with homework. Remember how Mrs. Walker from down the hall watched you when I worked night shifts at the hospital? The car passed Rosewood Baptist Church, where Mama Essie still sang in the choir every Sunday. That whole community raised you while I earned our way. Pastor Thomas helped you get that scholarship. Mr. Jefferson taught you how to tie a tie for your first job interview. Marcus swallowed hard. The guilt was a stone in his throat. And now look at you, she continued. Big shot marketing executive. Fine house in Forest Hills. Driving a car that cost more than every home I ever lived in. Marcus remembered it all too well. The nights he'd fallen asleep to the sound of Mama's sewing machine as she took in alterations for extra cash. The Christmas when she'd worked double shifts for 6 weeks straight to buy him his first computer. The days she'd collapsed from exhaustion but still made it to his high school graduation. It was at Morehouse College that he met Kendra Williams. She wore designer clothes and talked about summer homes and family investments like they were normal things. Her father was a surgeon, her mother a retired school principal who now ran a successful real estate business. Kendra had never known what it meant to worry about bills. Marcus had been dazzled by her confidence, her connections, her family's approval. When they married, Kendra insisted they buy in Forest Hills far from Rosewood Street. Mama Essie had sold her small house to help with the down payment, moving into their guest room, just until I find a new place. That was 3 years ago. You remember that Sunday dinner when your wife's mama first came to visit? Mama Essie asked, breaking the silence in the car. Marcus winced. How could he forget? Vivian Williams had surveyed their home with calculating eyes, lingering on the kitchen where Mama Essie was cooking. She sure looked down her nose at my cooking, Mama Essie continued. Asked if the collard greens were organic, like I'd been growing them wrong for 70 years. That same dinner, Vivian had announced her investment in a new condo building going up in Rosewood. Gentrification is such an opportunity, she'd said, sipping Mama Essie's sweet tea. Those old neighborhoods have such potential once they're properly developed. Mama Essie had quietly excused herself to check on the cornbread. 2 months later, Mrs. Walker, who'd watched Marcus as a child, got an eviction notice. Her building had been purchased by Williams Property Management. The car pulled up to Sunshine Gardens Assisted Living. The sign showed smiling seniors playing chess in a garden. Nothing like the sterile white building behind it. 3 weeks ago, Mama Essie said, still not moving to get out. Your wife had that dinner. Remember? When Vivian announced her knee surgery? Marcus nodded stiffly. The elaborate dinner party with Kendra's friends from the country club. Mama Essie had been asked to eat earlier in her room. Kendra said, "Mother will need proper care during recovery." Mama Essie mimicked Kendra's precise diction. And that woman looked right at me and said, "I've always loved your room, Essie. Such nice morning light." Marcus had said nothing then, just like he was saying nothing now. "That's when I knew," Mama Essie said, finally turning to face her son. "That's when I knew I was being replaced." A nurse in bright scrubs approached the car, clipboard in hand and a practiced smile on her face. "You must be Mrs. Johnson. We're so excited to welcome you to Sunshine Gardens." By Sunday morning, news had spread through Rosewood Baptist faster than Pastor Thomas could say, "Amen." Mama Essie's empty seat in the choir stand spoke volumes. "You did what to Miss Essie?" Deaconess Clark cornered Marcus after service, her wide-brimmed hat quivering with indignation. "That woman raised you on her knees praying when she wasn't working." Marcus adjusted his tie nervously. "It's a temporary situation, ma'am. Sunshine Gardens is a quality facility." "Quality?" Sister Jenkins joined in, church fans flapping furiously despite the air conditioning. "My cousin's husband was there 3 months before they lost him. Found him wandering Hilltop Mall in his pajamas." Kendra tugged at his arm. "Marcus, we have that brunch reservation." But the church ladies formed a wall of flowered dresses and disapproval. "Your mama called me crying last night," Sister Jenkins continued. "Said they served dinner at 4:30 and turn the lights out at 8 like she's a child. And charging you how much?" Deaconess Clark raised an eyebrow. $2,000 a month? 3? Try 5,000. Marcus felt sweat forming on his brow. "That money could pay for a nice home nurse to come by your house," Sister Jenkins said pointedly. Kendra's grip tightened on his arm. "We've made our decision. My mother needs proper recovery space. And Essie needed a son who remembered where he came from," Deaconess Clark said, staring straight through Marcus. Shame. Monday morning, the bell above Robinson's barbershop door jingled as Marcus entered. He needed normalcy, needed the familiar smell of aftershave and sound of sports debates. The usual chatter died instantly. Mr. Robinson, who had given Marcus his first haircut 35 years ago, just shook his head. "Appointment is canceled." "What? Why?" Marcus asked, though he already knew. "When a man puts his mama out, he needs to find himself a new barber." Mr. Robinson turned his back, sweeping up hair that didn't need sweeping. In the mirror, Marcus caught the eyes of Travis Davis, his best friend since 3rd grade. Travis, who had stood beside him at graduation, at his wedding, at every milestone. "Trav, come on, you understand, right? Kendra's mom needs—" "Need your mama's room?" Travis stood, setting down his magazine. "The same mama who took me in when my folks split? Who fed me Sunday dinners for 10 years? Who helped me pay for community college?" Marcus lowered his voice. "It's complicated. It's actually pretty simple." Travis grabbed his jacket. "Let's talk outside." In the barbershop parking lot, Travis leaned against his postal service van. "Look, I get it. You got pressure from Kendra. That woman never thought any of us were good enough for you." "It's not like that." "It's exactly like that," Travis cut him off. "Your mama told my mama you're paying $5,000 a month for that place. That's more than you can really afford, isn't it?" Marcus looked away. The truth was, the nursing home payments were already stretching his finances thin. His marketing business had lost 2 major clients last quarter. "Vivian needs somewhere to recover." Marcus repeated the line he'd been telling himself. "Yeah? She owns half of Rosewood now. Bought up Mrs. Walker's building, the old community center. She got no other place to stay? Or is this about something else?" Before Marcus could answer, his phone buzzed. A text from Kendra. "Doctor confirmed it. 8 weeks along. Don't tell anyone yet." Travis caught the change in Marcus's expression. "What now?" Marcus's heart raced. After 3 years trying, after expensive fertility treatments, after Kendra's tears month after month. Finally. Nothing, he lied, pocketing his phone. Just work. Yeah. Well, while you're working, think about this. Travis stepped closer. Your mama's church friends are organizing. Sister Jenkins's daughter works for the city paper. Deaconess Clark's son is that civil rights attorney downtown. Are you threatening me? I'm warning you. This community raised you. This community loves your mama. And this community doesn't forget. That evening, Marcus sat in his car outside Sunshine Gardens for 30 minutes before finding courage to go in. The receptionist's plastic smile faltered when he asked for Essie Johnson's room. Mrs. Johnson has been adjusting, she said carefully. He found Mama Essie sitting by the window, staring at nothing, still wearing her church dress from yesterday. Mama, why haven't you changed? These people are trying to put me in pants with elastic waists, she said without looking at him. I wore dresses my whole life, not becoming somebody new at 73. The room was institutional beige. One bed had personal items, Mama's quilt, her Bible, a few photos. The other bed was stripped bare. Where's your roommate? Died yesterday morning. Heart attack at breakfast. Mama Essie finally turned to him. They wheeled her out while I was brushing my teeth. By lunch, it's like she never existed. Marcus felt ill. I brought your mail. He handed her several envelopes, including one from Rosewood Baptist. Her face softened slightly as she opened the church letter. Inside was a card signed by the entire congregation, and a collection of photos from past events. Mama Essie at the choir anniversary, at the church picnic, teaching Sunday school. They remember me, she whispered. Everyone's asking about you, Marcus said, sitting carefully on the edge of her bed. Pastor Thomas wants to bring the deacons to visit. Those men don't need to see me in a place like this. Mama Essie straightened her posture. When they remember Essie Johnson, it won't be in a nursing home room. Marcus's phone buzzed again. Kendra. Mother's surgery moved up. Need to prepare her room by Friday. Can you clear the rest of Essie's things? Mama Essie saw his expression darken. What's she want now? Nothing important, he lied for the second time that day. You never could lie to me, son. Mama Essie folded her hands. Let me guess. Vivian wants my room cleared faster? Or is she already redecorating my home? Marcus said nothing, which told her everything. You think I don't know what's happening? Mama Essie's voice was suddenly strong. Your wife's mama has been trying to push me out since day one. Now she got what she wanted. It's not forever, Mama, just until she recovers. Mama Essie laughed, a sound with no joy in it. Boy, I raised you better than to lie like this. Once that woman gets her feet under my table, I'll never see my home again. An aide appeared at the door. Medication time, Mrs. Johnson. I don't need any pills, Mama Essie snapped. Doctor's orders. The aide's cheer was relentless. Marcus stood, relieved at the interruption. I should go. Kendra's waiting. She always is. Mama Essie turned back to the window. Tell me something before you run off. How much does this place cost you? Don't worry about that. $5,000 a month. Sister Jenkins's nephew works in billing here. Marcus winced. That marketing business of yours still struggling after you lost the Henderson account? He'd never told her about that. Rosewood still talks, son. People still care about what happens to folks. She fixed him with a stare that peeled away his defenses. So why are you doing this? The real reason. The aide hovered impatiently with the medication cup. Marcus's phone buzzed a third time. He glanced at it. A sonogram image. Their baby. 8 weeks old. Mama Essie caught the look on his face. She's pregnant, ain't she? She asked softly. Kendra finally got pregnant. I don't want a roommate, Mama Essie declared, arms crossed as the Sunshine Gardens staff wheeled in a new bed. 3 days had passed since Marcus's visit, since he'd stammered through confirming Kendra's pregnancy before rushing out. Mrs. Johnson, we've been through this, the floor manager said with practiced patience. All standard rooms are shared accommodations. Unless you paying extra, Mama Essie muttered. Like I told my son, I raised him better than this. The new arrival came in a wheelchair, pushed by an aide. Tall, even sitting down, with silver locks crown-like around her head. The woman wore a bright yellow dashiki and enough jewelry to open a small shop. "This here is Loretta Washington," the manager announced. "Your new roommate?" The woman fixed Mama Essie with sharp eyes. "It's Miss Loretta to you," she corrected the manager. "I earned that Miss marching in Selma." Mama Essie straightened slightly. Once the staff left, Miss Loretta wheeled herself to the window. 78 years on this earth, and my nephew puts me in here because his wife wants my guest room for her Peloton. She snorted. "What about you? What crime did you commit? Being old while black?" Despite herself, Mama Essie laughed. "My son moved me out so his mother-in-law could have my room. Lord have mercy." Miss Loretta shook her head. "These children forgot who changed their diapers." "Do you have any other family?" Mama Essie asked. "Just my great-niece Desiree. She visits, got 500,000 followers on that Instagram thing, always filming everything." Mama Essie perked up. "Desiree Jones? The one who makes videos about community issues? That's my girl." Pride filled Miss Loretta's voice. "Fighting the good fight, just with different tools than I had." A plan began forming in Mama Essie's mind. "Miss Loretta, I might need to meet this great niece of yours." Marcus stared at the property listing on his computer screen, not believing what he was seeing. The address was unmistakable. 1245 Rosewood Avenue, Mrs. Walker's old apartment building. The one she'd been evicted from. The listing agent, Williams Property Management. His office phone rang, startling him. "Marcus Johnson," he answered distractedly. "Marcus, it's Travis. You need to come to Rosewood now. I'm working, man. Can't this wait? It's about your mother-in-law's business and your mama." 20 minutes later, Marcus parked outside the old Rosewood Community Center. Except it wasn't a community center anymore. The sign now read, "Williams Heritage Lofts, Luxury Living in Historic Rosewood." Travis stood waiting with a woman Marcus recognized as Desiree Jones, social media activist with a massive following. She had a camera. "What's this about?" Marcus asked warily. "Follow me." Travis led them toward a small crowd gathered across the street. There, outside what had once been Miss Annie's Soul Food Cafe, now an artisanal coffee shop, stood an elderly woman surrounded by neighbors. She was crying. "That's Miss Annie," Travis explained. "After 40 years serving this community, her rent tripled overnight. Guess who owns the building now?" Marcus felt sick. "Williams Property." "Bingo," Desiree said, camera recording. "Same company that bought 6 blocks in this neighborhood. Same company forcing out families who've lived here for generations." "What's this got to do with me?" Marcus asked, though he already knew. "Your mother-in-law isn't just having knee surgery," Travis said. "She's the Williams and Williams Property Management." "No, that's impossible. Vivian was a school principal, who retired 15 years ago and started buying property," Desiree explained. "My Aunt Loretta, your mama's new roommate, was on the school board with her." Marcus's phone buzzed. A text from Kendra with photos of paint swatches. "Thinking sage green for your mother's old room. Mother agrees it would make a perfect nursery." His stomach dropped. "There's more," Travis said quietly. "Show him, Desiree." She pulled up a document on her phone. "Williams Property just applied for permits to demolish a block of historic homes on Cedar Street, to build condos." "My mother grew up on Cedar Street," Marcus whispered. "I know." Travis put a hand on his shoulder. "Your mama's childhood home is on that list." Back at Sunshine Gardens, Mama Essie and Miss Loretta sat with heads together, looking at the tablet Miss Loretta's family had brought her. "Here it is," Miss Loretta said, pointing at the screen. "Williams Property Holdings. 27 properties in Rosewood alone." "Lord, she owns half the neighborhood," Mama Essie murmured. "All their families. My Desiree's been tracking this company for months for her channel. Didn't know it was connected to your situation until we got to talking." The door opened, and a young woman with box braids and a camera entered. "Auntie Loretta, I got everything you asked for." "Good girl. Mama Essie, this is my Desiree. Desiree, this is the mama I was telling you about." Desiree's eyes lit with recognition. "Mrs. Johnson, Marcus's mother, You know my son? We just met. He's processing some information right now. Mama Essie nodded knowingly. He found out about Vivian's business? Yes, ma'am, and something else. Desiree hesitated. I wasn't sure if I should tell you. Girl, I'm 73, not dead. Speak your mind. We went through the property records. The house you're living in. I mean, the house Marcus and Kendra own. My house, Mama Essie corrected firmly. Yes, ma'am, the down payment. It wasn't just from your savings like Marcus thinks. Mama Essie frowned. What do you mean? Kendra's mother provided half the down payment. It's in the mortgage documents. But there's a condition attached, something called a right of occupancy clause. In English, child, it means Vivian has the legal right to live there whenever she wants. The clause was triggered by her knee surgery. It's not temporary. The blood drained from Mama Essie's face. They never planned for me to come back. No, ma'am, they didn't. Desiree's voice softened. And there's something else. I found this while digging through property records. She handed over her tablet. On screen was a decades-old deed with a familiar name. Thomas Johnson. My husband, but he left us 40 years ago. He's been working for Williams Property as a contractor. For 15 years. Mama Essie's hands trembled. Vivian knows my ex-husband? Not just know him, Miss Loretta said gently. Based on these records, she's been his main employer for years. At home, Marcus found Kendra directing movers carrying the last of Mama Essie's bedroom furniture to a storage unit. We need to talk, he said, voice tight with anger. About the nursery? I'm thinking we should replace the carpet too. It has that old person smell. About your mother's real estate business. Kendra's smile faltered slightly. What about it? Why didn't you tell me she owns Williams Property Management? That she's been gentrifying Rosewood? That she evicted Mrs. Walker, who practically helped raise me? Kendra sighed, waving the movers toward the garage. It's business, Marcus. Mother finds undervalued properties and improves them. Improves? By kicking out black families who've lived there for generations? By demolishing historic homes? Don't be dramatic. Mother is creating jobs, beautifying neighborhoods, my community. A community you were happy to leave behind when you married me, Kendra said coldly. When you wanted the country club membership and the address that impressed your clients. The truth stung. And now I find out your mother paid half our down payment, with a clause giving her the right to move in whenever she wants. Kendra's eyes widened slightly. How did you... Why the lies, Kendra? Why not just tell me the truth? Would you have agreed if we had? Her hand moved protectively to her still flat stomach. We need this, Marcus. For our baby. For our future. And what about my mama's future? She's fine. She has people taking care of her, activities, medical attention. She has nothing, Marcus's voice rose. You took everything from her, her home, her dignity, her independence. I gave her a better life than she could afford on her own. No, Marcus said quietly. I did that. When I let you and your mother manipulate me. His phone buzzed. A text from Travis. Found something you need to see. Old photo. Your dad with Vivian. Dated 1982. 1982, the year his father walked out on them. Marcus looked up at his wife with new understanding. How long has your mother known my father? Kendra's silence told him everything. Sunday dinner at the Johnson house had always been sacred. But this Sunday, the dining room crackled with tension, thick enough to cut with Mama Essie's good silver knife. Marcus sat at the head of the table. Kendra to his right, Vivian to his left. His Aunt Patricia, Mama's younger sister who'd flown in from Atlanta after hearing the news, sat across from him, her disapproval radiating like heat. So, Aunt Patricia said, setting down her fork, y'all just gonna eat like everything normal? Like my sister ain't sitting in some nursing home while this woman, she nodded toward Vivian, sleeps in her bed. Vivian dabbed her mouth with a napkin. I understand you're upset, Patricia, but Essie is receiving excellent care. Much better than we could provide here. We? Aunt Patricia's eyebrow shot up. This ain't your house. Actually, Vivian smiled thinly, I have certain legal rights to this property. Marcus slammed his hand on the table. Everybody stop, right now. He pulled out his phone and placed it in the center of the table. On screen was an old photograph of a man with his arm around a younger Vivian Williams. The man was unmistakably Thomas Johnson Marcus's father. Somebody want to explain this? 1982, the year my daddy walked out on us. Kendra looked away. Vivian's face remained impassive. Your father worked for me, Vivian said simply. He was my first property manager. And more than that, from what I hear, Aunt Patricia muttered. Vivian's eyes flashed. That's ancient history. Is it? Marcus pushed. Because it seems mighty coincidental that you've been buying up property in Rosewood, including my mama's childhood home, which you plan to demolish. Business is business, Vivian shrugged. Those old properties are more valuable as new developments. Those old properties are people's homes, our history. Kendra touched Marcus's arm. Baby, please, think about the stress. The baby. Don't you dare use our child to manipulate me, Marcus growled. Not after I found these. He pulled blueprints from his briefcase and spread them across the table. What is this? Aunt Patricia asked. Plans for a nursery, Marcus said coldly. Dated 3 months ago before Mama moved out. Before we even knew Kendra was pregnant. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. You never intended for Mama to come back home, Marcus said to his wife. This was never about Vivian's knee surgery. You were planning this all along. Kendra's face hardened. We need that space, Marcus, for our family, our future. Mama's family! She was holding us back, Kendra snapped, mask finally dropping. This house has 5 bedrooms, and she refused to take one upstairs. Insisted on keeping the master because it was her house. Always reminding us how she helped with the down payment. Always with her church friends visiting, judging me, judging our lifestyle. Because you looked down on them, Aunt Patricia cut in. On all of us. Vivian stood slowly, leaning on her cane. Let's just be honest, shall we? Essie was living beyond her means in this house. This neighborhood. She belongs in Rosewood with her people. Her people? Marcus's voice was dangerously quiet. You know what I mean, Vivian waved dismissively. We did her a favor. That nursing home costs a fortune, which we're helping pay for, I might add. With money you made by displacing black families from their homes, Marcus said, including Mrs. Walker, who helped raise me. Progress requires sacrifice, Vivian said coldly. Marcus's phone rang. Sunshine Gardens. His stomach dropped as he answered. Mr. Johnson? Your mother had a fall. She's being transported to Memorial Hospital. An hour later, Marcus ran into the emergency room, Aunt Patricia close behind. A doctor met them in the hallway. Mrs. Johnson is stable. Minor concussion, sprained wrist. She was apparently trying to leave the facility without assistance. She was trying to escape, a familiar voice said. Miss Loretta wheeled herself forward, Desiree beside her. After she found out the truth about her things. What things? Marcus asked. Desiree pulled out her tablet. I went to check on your storage unit, the one with your mother's furniture. Half of it's gone. Sold. That's impossible. I have the only key. Not quite, Miss Loretta said. Your wife has one too. And her mama. Desiree showed him online listings. Mama Essie's antique dresser. Her grandmother's rocking chair. The hand-carved chest that had been in the family for generations. They're selling her treasures piece by piece, Desiree explained. Vivian listed them through her vintage furniture store. A nurse appeared at the door. She's asking for you, Mr. Johnson. Marcus found his mother looking small in the hospital bed. Her wrist bandaged, a bruise darkening on her forehead. I tried to come home, son, she whispered. I just wanted to go home. For the first time since this nightmare began, Marcus Johnson broke down and cried. I want her home. Today. Marcus stood in the hospital corridor, phone pressed to his ear, spine straight as steel. I don't care what Kendra says. My mama's coming home. 3 days had passed since Mama Essie's fall. 3 days of Marcus sleeping in a chair beside her hospital bed. 3 days of ignoring Kendra's calls and texts about the baby, about Vivian, about being reasonable. Nothing felt reasonable anymore. The house is half mine. Kendra's voice crackled through the phone. And Mother has a legal right to stay there. You can't just watch me. Marcus ended the call as Desiree approached, camera in hand. "Are you ready to do this?" she asked. Marcus took a deep breath. "Let's go." In Mama Essie's hospital room, Desiree set up her equipment while Miss Loretta adjusted her bright head wrap. "You sure about this, Miss Loretta?" Marcus asked. "Boy, I marched with Dr. King. You think I'm scared of some social media?" She straightened her posture. "Besides, before I retired, I spent 30 years as a civil rights attorney. What your mother-in-law is doing ain't just wrong, parts of it are illegal. We're living in 3-2. Desiree pointed at them. "Hello, family," Miss Loretta began, looking into the camera. "I'm Loretta Washington, and this is Marcus Johnson. We're coming to you from Memorial Hospital where Marcus's mother, Essie Johnson, is recovering after trying to escape from Sunshine Gardens nursing home." Marcus leaned forward. 3 weeks ago, I made the worst mistake of my life. I let my wife and mother-in-law convince me to put my mama in a home so my mother-in-law could have her bedroom. The words poured out of him about Vivian's real estate empire, about the gentrification of Rosewood, about the stolen heirlooms. "My mother-in-law has been targeting Rosewood for years," he explained. "Buying properties, raising rents, forcing families out of homes they've lived in for generations." Miss Loretta took over. "As a retired attorney who specialized in housing discrimination, I'm telling you this has all the hallmarks of predatory business practices targeting vulnerable Black communities." The live viewer count ticked up, 5,000, 12,000, 27,000. "But here's what broke me," Marcus continued, voice cracking. "While my mama lay in this hospital bed, my mother-in-law has been selling off her treasures, family heirlooms, pieces of our history." Desiree split the screen to show the online listings. Mama Essie's possessions being sold for thousands. "We need your help, family," Miss Loretta said firmly. "Share this video. If you've bought anything from Williams' vintage collection in the past month, check these photos. These pieces belong to Essie Johnson, and we want them back." The comments section exploded. "Now," Marcus looked directly into the camera, "I'm bringing my mama home, today, and we're fighting back against Williams Property Management. If you or someone you know has been forced out of their home in Rosewood, contact us. We're building a case." 2 hours later, Mama Essie was wheeled into Desiree's spacious apartment. Marcus had arranged for a hospital bed to be delivered, along with visiting nurse service. "It ain't home," Mama Essie said softly, "but it's better than that nursing home." "We'll get your home back, Mama," Marcus promised. "Even if I have to buy Kendra out." "With what money, baby? You spend all your savings on that nursing home." Marcus looked away. She was right. 3 weeks at Sunshine Gardens had drained his accounts. "That's where I come in," Miss Loretta said, rolling into the room. "Our video has 300,000 views already, and my old law firm is interested in taking your case pro bono." Marcus's phone buzzed continually with notifications. Old neighbors offering help. Church members promised prayers and practical support. Childhood friends organizing. "Community still means something," Miss Loretta said. "Even in 2025. That evening, Marcus sat beside his mother's bed while she rested. His phone lit up with a text from Travis. "Check Williams' vintage collection now." Marcus pulled up the website. Every listing for Mama Essie's items had been removed. Another text arrived from his cousin Deshawn, who worked security at Forest Hills. "Vivian just left your house with 4 suitcases. Kendra follows in a separate car." Then a final notification. An email from Kendra. "Marcus, Mother is moving us to her condo downtown until this ugliness blows over. Your social media stunt has made things impossible. Her business partners are calling. The club is gossiping. I know you think you're doing the right thing, but this baby needs stability. Not social media wars and family drama. When you're ready to be reasonable, call me. Kendra." Marcus showed the message to his mother. Mama Essie took his hand. "Son, I need to tell you something important. Something I should have said years ago." "What is it, Mama?" "Your daddy didn't just walk out on us. Vivian helped him leave." Marcus frowned. "What do you mean?" "When I was cleaning my room at Sunshine Gardens, I found an old letter in my Bible. One I forgot was there." She pointed to her purse. "Look inside." Marcus pulled out a yellowed envelope. Inside was a love letter from Thomas Johnson to Vivian Williams, dated January 1982. They were having an affair, Mama Essie said quietly. She convinced him to leave us. Then she set him up in her business. But why would Kendra marry me? Why would Vivian allow it? Because of the house, son. Mama Essie's eyes filled with tears. My house sits on what used to be my parents' land. The last piece of property on Cedar Street that Vivian doesn't control. The demolition permit isn't just about gentrification, it's personal. She's been trying to erase our family for 40 years. Marcus stared at the letter, decades of history suddenly making terrible sense. Well, he said finally, standing up with new resolve. She picked the wrong family to mess with. 2 weeks passed like a whirlwind. Desiree's video had gone viral, 5 million views and counting. National news outlets picked up the story. Black developer displaces community, including mother-in-law. Marcus hadn't spoken to Kendra since her departure. The divorce papers arrived 3 days ago. She wanted half of everything, including the house. But today wasn't about endings. It was about beginnings. You ready, Mama? Marcus asked, helping Essie Johnson from Desiree's car. Before them stood the house, their house surrounded by what looked like half of Rosewood. Church members in their Sunday best. Neighbors with welcome signs. Travis had hung a banner across the porch. Welcome home, Mama Essie. Lord have mercy, Mama Essie whispered, leaning on her cane. All these people. Deaconess. Clark rushed forward. Girl, we missed you at choir practice. Nobody can hit that high note in Amazing Grace like you. Pastor Thomas stepped up. The prodigal mother returns, and this time she ain't leaving again. As the crowd parted to create a path to the front door, a sleek black SUV screeched to a halt at the curb. Kendra emerged, followed by Vivian using a designer cane. What is this? Kendra demanded, surveying the crowd. Marcus, you can't just move her back in. We have an agreement. Actually, Miss Loretta wheeled forward, a legal folder in her lap. That agreement has been voided. On what grounds? Vivian snapped. Fraud, for starters. Miss Loretta smiled thinly. My old firm has been busy. Turns out when you sell someone else's property without permission, that's a crime. Marcus stepped forward. Kendra, Vivian, meet my attorney, and meet the community you've been trying to destroy. The crowd murmured, eyes hard as they regarded the two women. This is ridiculous, Vivian huffed. I have legal rights to this property. I provided half the down payment. About that, Miss Loretta opened her folder. We found some interesting connections between your finances and Johnson Construction, the company that employed Marcus's father after he abandoned his family. Mama Essie stepped forward, stronger than she'd looked in weeks. Tell them the truth, Vivian. Tell my son how you stole his father. How you planned for decades to take everything from me. I did no such. Thomas called me. Mama Essie interrupted. After 40 years, my ex-husband finally called me. Tell me everything about how you convinced him to leave us. How you promised him wealth if he helped you buy up Rosewood properties. How you laughed about putting me in that nursing home. The crowd gasped. And then, Marcus added, we discovered something interesting about Cedar Street. Desiree projected something onto a tablet. This is the original deed to Mama Essie's parents' land. The land this house sits on. Miss Loretta took over. When the city was rezoned in 1975, they redraw property lines. But they made a mistake. This land was designated as historically protected due to its significance in civil rights history. Essie's father helped organize the Rosewood bus boycott of 1963 right here. Which means, Marcus concluded, no one can legally demolish or redevelop this property without historical commission approval. Your entire Cedar Street project is dead, Vivian. Kendra's face fell. Mother, is this true? Vivian's composure cracked. You don't understand what it took to build what I have. I came from nothing. These people, their neighborhoods were falling apart anyway. I made them better. Better for who? Travis called out. Not for the families who lived here for generations. You didn't just steal property, Mama Essie said softly. You stole history. Community. Belonging. Vivian turned to Kendra. We're leaving. My attorneys will handle this. But Kendra didn't move. For the first time, she looked at the community gathered around Mama Essie. Really looked at them. The steadfast church ladies, the proud barbers and teachers, the families who had known each other for generations. Her hand went to her stomach. What are we doing, Mother? This is my baby's family, too. Vivian's eyes widened. Kendra! No. Kendra stepped away from her mother. I've been blind, or maybe I just didn't want to see. She turned to Marcus. I don't expect forgiveness, but our child deserves to know both sides of their heritage, including Mama Essie. 6 months later, Mama Essie sat on her porch swing, baby Elijah sleeping against her chest. He got your nose, she told Marcus, who sat beside her. And your stubbornness, he laughed softly. The neighborhood had transformed. After the scandal broke, Williams' property was investigated for discriminatory practices. The company collapsed, and Vivian fled to Florida. Kendra lived in a small apartment nearby. Co-parenting wasn't easy, but every Sunday she brought Elijah to dinner at Mama Essie because it would always be Mama Essie's house. Who's that? Marcus pointed to a car pulling up. Miss Loretta emerged from the passenger side, Desiree helping her with her wheelchair. Behind them came Travis, Pastor Thomas, and a dozen others. Community meeting, Miss Loretta called out. The Historical Commission approved our proposal. Rosewood is getting designated as a protected cultural district. And, Desiree added, we're converting Williams' office building into the Rosewood Community Center, with housing assistance offices and a daycare. Mama Essie rocked gently, baby Elijah snuggled against her heart. You hear that, sweet boy? That's what community sounds like. That's what home means. She looked out over her porch at the gathering crowd, her people, her history, her future. Some things, she whispered to her grandson, are too precious to ever give away.